on some water, Yuziyu is reborn as a normal young man. But instead of being sent to another world as a stud with superpowers, as is often the case, he is changed into a tree. Yes, a tree has to deal with many problems to stay alive. For example, Yuziyu designs things to make up for the fact that he doesn't have any arms or legs. Join him as he makes his way to becoming a tree god while making the most of his weaknesses. The story starts in a mysterious forest with a tree that has never been seen before in the middle. Suddenly, a voice comes from the tree, and it turns out that the voice belongs to the tree itself. The tree says that it is about to choke and die. Then it looks around and wonders where in the world it could be. After looking into it more, he realizes that it has been turned into a tree. Thinking that this is all just a dream, the tree tries to go back to sleep, hoping that he will soon wake up from this nightmare. However, he is unable to sleep and is still a tree. The voice inside the tree remembers all of a sudden that it choked on water. So he thinks he must have been transmigrated and cursed to be reborn as a tree instead of a young man with a harem of beautiful girls. The tree can't figure out what it did to deserve this punishment. All of a sudden, it realizes that trees can't see anything, but for some strange reason, he can see it. When he tries to move one of the tree's 50 branches and fails, he blames his luck again. Then he sees an airplane in the sky. This makes him think that he might still be in the same time period as when he was alive. Then a bee shows up and starts buzzing all around him. Frustrated by their actions, it uses the only branch that can move to kill them both at once. Suddenly, he gets 0.2 evolution points, and a status bar appears in front of him. Since Yuziyu is now hurt, he uses his new points to make his branches stronger. When he does this, he can move another branch. After a month and a half, Yuziyu is much stronger and can control all of his branches on his own. He tries to use his techniques on a boulder near him, but he can't reach it. Even though his attack didn't hit anything, he still tried. He breaks off a piece of the boulder using the shockwave it makes. He wants to grow into the world tree of this planet one day. Yuziyu keeps getting stronger and more powerful. Since he doesn't have to study, play, or even work, he spends all of his time on his way to becoming a tree god. He also knows that this world and the one he came from are different, because the air in this one has changed. He also finds a nest of baby peregrine falcons that have made Yuziyu their home. He wonders if he can tame these animals and use them to help him train for air battles. Yuziyu decides to hunt and feed the nest after killing and feeding the falcons a rabbit. He then tries to strengthen his roots, but he finds that roots cost 1 point instead of 0.1. For branches to get stronger, he decides in favor of it because he thinks the roots must be more important. Even though this hurts him so much, it feels like an electric drill is being used to hit him. His hard work has paid off because he can now change his path just like his branches, which are now much stronger and thicker as they are. He then tries to move by using his root, but it hurts even more. He says that he needs to strengthen all of his other roots to protect his trunk, heart, and lifeline. He hears something move in the distance, so he gets ready for battle. Yuziyu finds that the sound came from a fox, which is hurt but still barely alive. But when he checks on the fox, he finds that it has been poisoned. He doesn't want to feed the falcons poisoned meat, so Yuziyu thinks about what to do. He learns that his sap can detoxify, so he helps the fox. His sap seems to work very well, as the fox gets back up and feels better than ever. Yuziyu also decides to kill the beast so that he can get more points. Despite his malicious desires, when the fox quickly starts to like him, he has no choice but to stop his attack. As the fox ruffles his fur, he seems surprised by how cute it is and decides to pet it. All at once, the sun shines through the fog. Yuziyu finds out that this beast has changed because it has been eating Seth's branches and getting bigger. Yuziyu is surprised, but when two girls show up, he is even more surprised. The girls set up a small altar at Yugyu's trunk, which was where the girl's father was buried. After a quick prayer, one of the girls dragged the other to a nearby lake, where they were getting ready to take a shower, while our perverted tree friend tried to sneak a peek at them getting naked. However, his hopes were crushed when another tree blocked his view. He tried to move around a bit, but again felt pain he couldn't even imagine. As the girls finish their shower, he curses that he can't move and decides to stop being so stupid. They go back to their village and say again that they will be back soon. Since the girls came to see Yuziyu a week ago, she has made progress. So, he also gives his sap to the peregrine falcons, which is a big deal because it helps them grow a lot. Gao is getting closer to his goal of becoming a tree god now that he is with a red fox and a group of falcons. After some time has passed, he also decides to kill a golden eagle that has been after him for a long time. with help from his new animals. He is able to bring the eagle down to where he can hit it, and he does so quickly. But after beating this weak bird, Yuziyu says that he needs to get stronger if he wants to stay alive. He says that he is sure to die if he runs into a beast of the same level as him because he can't move. He also thinks that there will be at least one monster in the huge canyon where he lives that will be able to beat him. So he can't be careless. Not only himself, but also his pets need to get much stronger so they can stay alive. Still, since they all worked hard and worked together to defeat the eagle, Yuziyu decides to give them some of his tasty sweets as a reward. However, their party is cut short when they run into another powerful monster, a War X snake. This enemy quickly destroys 26 of Yuziyu's branches and weapons with a single blow. When you look at the stat bar, he also finds out that this snake was on the same level as him, level 9. The red fox, now named Exiao, starts to act aggressively toward the snake, showing that it was the snake that poisoned him before. Suddenly, their enemy launches a powerful attack. Yuziyu tells everyone to hide behind him and then blocks the attack. Using the information he had gathered, he quickly fortifies all of his roots, and the attack just misses him. He also attacks the snake, but his attack can't break through the snake's tough skin. Thanks to this attack, the snake thinks twice about continuing the fight, and it leaves quickly, leaving you to die. He says that he is to blame for this because he is weak. Then all of a sudden, a message screen pops up asking if you want to evolve so that you never have to be in a situation like this again. Yuziyu doesn't think twice before pressing yes, in a very short time. After that, he starts to change, getting bigger and stronger. After getting his roots and branches back, he finds that his evolution has changed even his pets. So he decides to send his falcons out right away to look for the Warak snake. As they fly away, Yuziyu notices that the falcon is going faster. He also hears a noise and sees that the two girls he met earlier are being chased by many monsters from this huge den. He finds out that all the monsters in the area are drawn to him because of his sap. This doesn't mean, though, that he will let them eat him. Red Fox and the Falcons quickly protect the girls while Yuziyu starts to hide all the monsters that are launching strong attacks. He quickly takes care of the monsters, but decides to keep a few of the stronger ones alive to care for and train. Now he looks at the girls who are unconscious from the shock and wonders what he should do with them. He thinks that killing them would just make more people pay attention to them. So he decides to try something else. When the girls wake up, Yuziyu says in writing that he is their father. The girls don't think this is likely to be true. So the younger girl tells Yu-John that she wants you to tell someone her biggest secret. She says that he can only tell her this because of his status bar. In the meantime, Yuziyu thinks that since he was reborn into this world, their father's soul, which was buried under him, and his own soul may have merged. The girls finally agree with what he says. They also said that all living things have started to change because of something called spiritual energy that is in the air, but no one knows what it is. But Yuziyu has some more problems to deal with. He has to tame the monsters he chose not to kill, but he decides to do something else first. He opens his status window and starts his new enhancement to get stronger. After sending Exiaoling, the younger sister, and Exiaoling, the older sister, down the mountain with the red fox, he quickly enhances himself. The next morning, Yuziyu is more powerful than ever. He has also learned some new tricks and effects. Also, as his roots grew deeper into the ground, they reached an underground river full of spiritual energy that was happy about what would happen to him. As he finally starts to train the beasts he caught the day before his daughter came to visit. He finds out that the Falcons came back from looking for the War X snake empty-handed. This makes him think that maybe it's okay to take it easy once in a while. Half a month has passed since the sisters found Yuziyu. They go back into the forest to visit their father. As usual, the Red Fox comes to pick up the sisters and take them to where John Hughes is. As they ride on the Red Fox's back, the War X snake attacks them with a powerful attack. Yuziyu, meanwhile, keeps piling up points by killing all the BAC lures and getting help from his pets. He finally gets a lot of money today, so he decides to upgrade some of his roots to level 2, even though it cost a huge 100 points. When he takes this deal, he finds that his root has changed in a big way. He tries out his attack and says that the aftermath looks like a scene from hell. At the same time, he wonders why Red Fox is taking so long on such a short trip. On the other hand, the War X snake is seen dripping with blood, and Yuziyu sends out the Falcons to find the girls in Red Fox. Just then, a Red Fox who was almost dead stumbled toward Yuziyu. He quickly used his sap to heal it, then asked him why he was alone and where the girls were. All of a sudden, far away, he sees the snake smirking and playing with Silo Ling's dead body. This makes him very angry, so he uses his strongest root to attack the snake. He manages to grab Ling's body before the snake can eat it. The snake quickly runs away. In the meantime, Yuziyu gives Ling her sap and life essence, but she doesn't seem to be getting better. Even though Ling has used all of his points, he still doesn't wake up. Well, Rover Xiao Ling can't be found anywhere. So, Yuziyu sends her down the mountain to her village, but the people there can't help her. After hearing from his falcon that she was hurt, Yuziyu and all of his pets and monsters got ready to get back at the snake. All of your big US pets attack the War X snake together. Even though they are all different in strength, they all keep attacking the hurt and bruised snake. Still, they all keep going because they only want to get even. In spite of that, the snake is still too strong. Suddenly, the red fox runs up to the snake and decides to finally tear it apart. He doesn't care about his own life and charges at the snake. Snake sees how angry Red Fox is and decides to kill him no matter what. They start to fight each other over and over again, as both of them start to take damage. The falcons also show up, and they and the Red Fox attack the snake, yelling at it to give the sisters' lives back. The falcon uses an attack called Bullet Die, in which it attacks its enemy by going faster than its body can handle. A strong sadness fills the air, and the pets remember why they are fighting and rush to attack. Using their combined strength and their peer sacrifices and hard work slowly but surely, they were able to push the X-Snake back. Still, the snake fights back with everything he has because he doesn't want to die. All of this, though, is part of his new plan, as he reveals that he has used his pets to bring the X-Snake down to where he can reach it. The snake runs away as soon as it sees Yuziyu because it knows it can't beat him. Even so, Yuziyu's enemy is easy for him to catch. He gives it a heartbeat and says, "From now on, you die." He then smashes the snake to the ground, killing it for good. As the last of his beasts gathers to watch their enemy die, Yuziyu keeps beating the lifeless snake, saying he has no right to rest. He and all of his beasts cry their eyes out over the loss of Silo Ling and Sai. "Oh Ling and Sai, oh Ling." Yuziyu says that in a world where the strong eat the weak, the sisters' life will feed new ones and make them all stronger. But it is not unreasonable for them to feel sad. As soon as the battle is over, Yuziyu thanks every animal for helping him get his revenge. He also gives them all a gift of his sap as they leave. He tells everyone there that they can leave if they want to. Among the beasts, a cow monkey crane and a pack of tempest wolves drink this app, and their levels go up right away. Yuziyu is happy to see how much they have grown. He says he can't wait to see how they improve in the future. Surprisingly, none of the animals decided to leave. Instead, they chose to stay with him. Yuziyu is happy to hear this, and he promises to help them get stronger and keep them from dying soon after. He then gives each animal a job to do, building a strong base. Everything is back to normal until one day, when a shining orb of light with a humanoid figure inside appears in front of Yuziyu. This glowing orb is revealed to be the mutated soul of Xiao Ling. Yuziyu also learns that his branches have a special ability to nurture souls like this. He decides to do this with Xiao Ling. He surrounds the soul with his branches as a soft voice asks who she is. She starts to get a headache and says that thoughts of sadness keep coming into her mind. She also says that her body is very tired because of this. This sentence makes you think about what might be possible. So he comes up with a crazy plan. He then asks Xiao Ling's soul if she can live in Silo Ling's by laying herself down. In this world, people have set up an organization to deal with spiritual energy and study these monsters that have changed. Also, people who have a special ability to control spiritual energy have shown up. When they wake up, these people are called special Taimins, and a similar person named Gao Yan and the leader of this group, Yan Yet, are on their way to Yuziyu after finding out that there's a strong presence there. In the meantime, Yuziyu sets up a smokescreen of fog and illusions to keep other humans out. But he soon feels the presence of Yen Gall and his friends entering the fog, who want Yen Gall and his group to join them, but can't because of the fog. Shen Yang tells some people to keep an eye on their cars while others go into the fog and look around the village. Together with them, they need special bullets that have been made just for these changed animals. In the meantime, Yuziyu has convinced King of the power of his plant, and she tries to fuse with Ling by telling him that she sees the image of Yan Gall, who has just come to the village and said that Link can be brought back to life. Xiao Ling does her best to remotely fuse with Ling's body, and she also pulls out a mysterious red potion and says that Ling has a special skill that is needed in these terrible times. He gives it to her to drink, and as soon as it gets into her system, Ling feels a huge surge of power, and she finally takes over the body. This makes Link wake up right away, which surprises everyone in the village. Jay, you tell Ling to find out about the humans who came into the village later that night. To celebrate Ling's recovery, the villagers throw a party. During the party, Ling talks to Yan Gall and asks him why they've come to this place. He tells them that a satellite saw mutated animals here and that they are here to do some research. Yan Gall and his group don't yet know that Yuziyu uses presents, which is a good thing. The next day, the group leaves. Before they leave, Gal asks Ling's grandfather to let her come with them, saying he will take care of her. Ling's grandfather has no choice but to say yes. The group decides to start laying when they get back, so they head into the woods. But in the fall, they get mixed up. Yuziyu, a young man who choked on water and died, comes back to life as a tree. Even though he can't move around, he makes the most of what he has, using his skills to cheat. More and more monsters keep showing up and are now much stronger than men. Yuziyu, who says he warned them before, then tells his pets to kill the men. The team is about to die, but Yen Geo, who is badly hurt, manages to save them. Because of his bravery and hard work, Yan Gall is able to keep his promise and get his troops out of the forest. However, the battalion lost 6 men because of what happened, as they run away with their tails between their legs. Yan Gall thinks to himself that the honey badger, who has already been shot twice, probably won't make it through their fight. Yuziyu, on the other hand, is happy to be rid of the pests that had invaded his territory. He wishes they wouldn't come back for a while and says he wanted to kill each and every one of them where they stood. He doesn't do it because he doesn't want to get more attention. He also says that because of this incident, their investigation will be put on hold. But when they come back here again, it will be the last time they breed. So he also makes a promise to himself to get better and better until no human can beat him. On the other hand, Xiao Ling is still in control of Xiao Ling's body, revealing that she went with the other team. Xiao Ling asks Yuziyu if she will have to live in this body from now on. He says yes, happy that this could be a great chance to join the human race and learn as much as possible. As Xiao Ling goes on a trip with the team's young men, they fall in love with her because of how beautiful she is. Suddenly, when Xiao Ling has had enough, she goes back to sleep. The men call her Sleeping Beauty because of this. In the meantime, Xiao Ling is completely worn out from controlling Ling's body for more than 15 hours straight to help her heal faster. Yuziyu gives her some of his life essences in the hopes that they will help her control time as well. Xiao Ling is happy to eat the food that Yuziyu and his injured pests bring out. The honeybanger looks like it's about to die, so Yuziyu says that giving the badger his sap will only make his condition worse. So he uses his roots and branches to find a source of water and make a small lake in front of him. He then adds his life essence to this lake. So after what happened in the forest, the pets can take a break and play in the water while they heal. After some time, they can go back to the Special Organization's research institution. Yan Gall gives his boss the report. His boss, an old man with a long beard, says that Yan Gall and his group ran into a tough enemy this time. The Yan Gall says that the change in the mountain is for sure, and that there are a lot of powerful beasts that have changed there. He also tells him about the thick fog that is around them, and how, in his opinion, the mist can affect the mind and spirit of a person. Still, no one knows why this is happening. Gao has been told to put the forest in the yellow warning area because the fog is very dangerous. He also tells him to keep an eye out for anything strange in the area or over, and if anything does happen, he should put the zone into the red hazard area right away. Yan Gall agrees to do this job and is about to leave when his boss asks about the girl he brought back. Xiao Ling and Gal says with excitement that Link has a fire elemental talent and that she might be the strongest of her generation because she is in the yellow area. Even though the country keeps an eye on Yuziyu, it is considered lucky. Back in the forest, a red fox and a honey badger are fighting while the rest of the animals watch. The red fox is stronger and wins the fight. Yuziyu is also happy that no one else was sent over. He thinks it would be best if they never came back. The tempestuous wolf pack approaches him. They have brought live animals for Yuziyu to kill so he can earn points. He is overjoyed at the advantages they give him. While the monsters eat the dead animals, Yuziyu looks for ways to improve himself. Since he already has 172 evolution points saved, he decides to make half of his branches even stronger. As he does this, he finds that not only is he getting stronger, But he also has new skills, like being able to paralyze or sting. He can't wait, so he hits the honey badger with the attack to try out his new powers. But the badger gets back up quickly and calls this ability a scam, asking for his points back. He gets angry when Ling tells him that honey badgers are born with anti-toxic abilities. He is also surprised by her arrival and asks her why she is here. Ping tells him that the special organization is very boring because they don't let her do much. Also, Gal says that in order to get into the Spiritual Power Research Institute, she has to pass a test. She has to pass a test. She also says that if she fails, she will have to go back, which worries Yuziyu, so that he can get her to do something. He decides to give her some life essence as a reward. This gets her excited in a serious tone of voice. King also says she won't fail and will do whatever it takes if someone stands in her way as the day of the test gets closer and closer. Gao goes with Xiao Ling to the place where she will take her test. He also says that the institution was made so that spiritual power could be studied, and so that super beings could be raised as they reach the hall. After Yan Gao's boss, who turns out to be the head of the special organization, tells the crowd that the world is changing in a big way, a lot of other people show up to take the test. And because of this, humans will have to change and adapt to the situation in order to keep their species alive. If they don't, their species will be in danger, and this place was made just for this reason. He gets the recruits fired up by telling them to start a new era. So, the testing finally starts, and the first test is a power test. As students check their power level, it seems like the results aren't as good as the first generation. As soon as it was her turn, a girl named Yan Lingling stepped forward. As she tests her power level, the examiner is shocked when she says that her level is 2000. This is a high-class and scary level, and it, along with her stunning looks, makes her the talk of the school. People praise her a lot. At last, it's finally Xiao Ling's turn. As she walks toward the area, Yan Gao and the director watch her closely. As soon as she starts the test, her strength becomes clear, reaching a level of 5,000. Her strength is unlike anything that has ever been seen. Even the director can't say anything, and the crowd just goes nuts. But this isn't the end, because the number keeps going up until it stops at around 6,000. Lang also destroyed the testing machine in the process, which left Lingling confused by what she had just seen. Even though this is the case, the examiner keeps going with the process. The second round turns out to be the aptitude test. The students are separated into high and low classes and then sent to the test site through portals. Since Ling and Lingling are both high class, they now have to work as a team. As soon as they walk through the portal, they see Yan Gao, who says that the test is being able to touch him even once. When they do this, they will win. Back in the forest, Yuziyu is enjoying the peace and quiet, but all of a sudden he smells something bad. When he looks around, he sees that Honey Badger just pooped right next to him. He then beats Honey Badger up, and Gao beats all the students easily while making fun of them for being weak. He says that if they keep doing this embarrassing thing, they will all be killed. Even though they are tired and worn out, Lingling and Xiao like being the only ones left to fight Yan Gao. There are only 10 minutes left until the test is over. He tells them to work hard because that's the only way they might not be kicked out. Lingling has already done all she can, so she can't do much else. Link, on the other hand, refuses to be sent home when she hears that she could be and suddenly gets a lot stronger. Using her fire elemental talent, she rushes into her unshaken and confident enemy, who is surprised to see that she is using fire to speed up her attack. Yan Gao wonders how well she can control her anger, as he makes fun of her to make her mad. When he lays on her again, he speeds up a lot and is able to do advanced moves. So she charges again at her enemy, who just barely manages to avoid the onslaught of blows. Just as she finds a chance to attack, Lingling gets in the way. She kicks herself in the face, which sends her flying. Lingling just makes it to the Yan Gao in time and moves on to the next round. Again, Gao rushes to check on Link, who is bleeding heavily. Suddenly, Lingling starts to make fun of her, saying that she is no match for her, and that she should just go back to where she came from in the mountains. Gao, remembering that she swore she wouldn't let anything get in the way of her plan, decides to deal with the person who got in the way. So she quickly runs up to Lingling, grabs her by the face, and smashes her head into the ground. Since Lingling can't move or fight back, she takes a lot of damage. She tells Ling to stop saying that the test is over. She also asks if she wants to kill her. Ling says yes and then hits Lingling with a powerful attack filled with intense bloodlust. Yan Gao stops her attack at the last second. He also comes down and tells her she did well on the test. Ling quickly goes back to normal after hearing this, but Ling Ling is frozen with fear and knocked out on the ground. Yan Gao worries that he may have taken on more than he can handle. The director is thrilled with Ling's skills and wants the school to focus on properly training her as soon as she passes. King, who is controlling Ling from a distance, tells Yuziyu her result, which makes him happy. She says that people at her school now think she's a genius because she got to the 8th grade so quickly. Also, Jie shows that the villagers have left their homes in the mountains and moved to the cities for the sake of the future. Time moves quickly, and now it is already winter. Even though it's winter, he keeps changing his breaks one at a time, saying that the crisis won't stop. He says that soon the air will be filled with the smell of death and blood. In the new Yuziyu forest, the dark shape of a powerful beast can be seen. In the Northwest Territories, on the other hand, special groups have finally reached a cave, and it turns out that they had to make many sacrifices to get there. They are still happy that they were able to find the pit of spiritual stones. Suddenly, the troops here let out an unsettling and unpleasant growl. As they turn around to look around, they see a sliver centipede, a strong monster that has changed in a bad way. The centipede then attacks the soldiers, who run around helplessly trying to protect themselves. Yuziyu, on the other hand, has finished improving his branches and is happy that he is almost at rank 2. He says that to do this, he only needs to evolve 8 of his roots. He also says that when he rises to the top, nothing, not even nuclear weapons, will be able to stop him. But he also thinks that after he gets the rank, humans will find out about them because of the changes caused by evolution. He fears humans for the first time as a non-human, and Xiaoling tries to figure out what he is thinking by saying that a huge problem has happened. Back at the Special Research Institution, Yan Gao finds out that every single member of the Northwest Squad has been killed. This is because spiritual power leaked out of the stones and attracted many mutated beasts to them, revealing that there were only a lot of mutated mice and birds. At first, they said that there was a silver centipede with a spiritual level of over 120,000. So, since this is such a strong enemy, special forces are sent out to deal with it. Even so, this fight will not be easy for them either. Yuziyu also finds out that people have recently found a spiritual stone and a natural mind along with it. It turns out that the spiritual stone is a stone with a lot of energy inside it that can help increase body strength quickly. When it was found, all of the institutes argued about it. Ling says that it will help humans keep up with the evolution of animals. Yuziyu, on the other hand, is very angry, saying that his plan to evolve faster than any human might be able to has failed. He curses people and their ability to change. Ling also tells him that a rank, 2 silver centipede, has shown up. He also says that all of the soldiers who were there to protect the area have been killed, along with about half of the extraordinary team. Yuziyu is confused by this because he doesn't understand how that centipede can be so high up in the ranks and still be low-key. He asks if the humans have sent a team to fight back against this monster. However, he learns that since the organization planned for something like this to happen, it still hasn't. He also asks her if he might be able to beat it, but she tells him that while the centipede has a level of 120,000, he only has a level of 16,000. Ling will be back soon after she gives her report to the institution. She asks to go to the northwest to see the centipede once she gets there, but what she wants has been turned down. Yuziyu is still collecting points to evolve, and when he has enough, he makes all of his roots stronger at once, which hurts a lot. Even so, he keeps going. On the other side, a honey badger is seen hurt and bleeding, but it turns out that the honey badger is just on a normal hunting trip. As he gets food and gets ready to eat, he meets a group of hungry, poor otters. Even though he makes an awful face, he gives them his catch and they quickly become friends. When the bird decides to go back after eating, it gets a nut as a thank you. A big beast attacks it out of the blue. Honey Badger goes crazy when he sees this monster that looks like a dinosaur. He rushes to attack the beast in order to get the first one hidden, but he loses easily and takes a lot of damage. When the Tempest Wolves find the Honey Badger's hurt and bleeding body, they decide to bring it to Yuziyu, who says he's lucky to have made it through this fight because his opponent was much stronger. Yuziyu gives the badger his sap anyway and puts him in the Lake of Healing. On the other hand, he sends out the Tempest Wolves and the Red Foxes to find the beast that hurt his beloved pet. He does this while making a scary face and saying that this monster has managed to stay hidden. Even with the thick fog, it shouldn't be easy. Because of this, he can't let it stay here because this animal is a major threat. When Ling says she wants to fight this enemy, Yuziyu is again surprised at how quickly she gets there. She tells him that she may have found something that will make him less noticeable. Still, she tells him that it will be hard to get this link back, and he tells her to take it easy and not rush. Suddenly, he has a flash of insight as he realizes something important. He remembers the underground river that was full of spiritual energy and that he had found before by feeling it with his roots. He thinks that this energy might come from a mine of spiritual stones, or that they might be able to get some Ling Chai back. This makes him think that their current phone must also have some. So he tells his pets to find the monster, but not to fight it, telling them that they will die if they do. He divides the pets into 3 groups. The red fox, the wolves, and the crane and falcons are to check out the scene. Ling is to find the monster underground near the mine, with the warning that they should not fight it. He tells them to leave, and when they find the river, everyone goes upstream to do their jobs. She sees that the situation is exactly as Yuziyu said it would be. The river is full of spiritual stones, and she found this so easily, Papa. Then, all of a sudden, she hears a roar coming from this thing. This roar is a powerful energy that Shinji says is on a level above Yuziyu. As more research was done, she finds out that the monster in question is an earthstone elephant turtle. She says that it's a good thing they found it so quickly, because if they hadn't, it would have grown into something unimaginable. When she looks closer, she finds a blood grasp, which is a companion to the spiritual stone and the most important treasure to move forward. She thinks that these germs will help her a lot. Yuziyu, on the other hand, found out from his roots that Ling had met the beast and made it angry. When he went to see how the badger was doing, he found that he was gone. It turns out that Badger went all the way down in order to get back at the person who stepped on him. So he has to face the elephant turtle. This makes him angry, so Honey Badger keeps attacking his opponent without caring about himself. Despite receiving major damage, he keeps getting back up. Peon says that at this rate it will die, but Badger still vows to beat his enemy, because he never wants to be helpless again. Honey Badger's body starts to change all at once. His hair starts to turn different colors, which means he is mutated, and the bloody battle starts up again. The Honey Badger comes up with one attack after another, but his opponent is facing all of them head-on and still won't go down. Suddenly, the Honey Badger throws out a powerful attack that uses electric shock to knock his opponent to the ground. Xiao Ling, who is watching the fight from the sidelines, is thrilled to see this and starts to say that the Honey Badger has won. But it doesn't look like that's what happened. As the giant turtle comes back up, a shadowy figure comes with it. In a short time, he hits Honey Badger over and over, making him throw up blood and feel tired and bad about not being able to get back at him. Honey Badger is getting ready to give his life to protect his honor. As they traded their last blows, the match was coming to an end. The giant turtle is sent flying back, which shows that one of Yuziyu's roots got there just in time to save Honey Badger. Yu is so angry after seeing how Honey Badger was hurt that he tells Ling to send his consciousness to his root so that he could see things from the root's point of view. So the epic fight is now starting, and he quickly looks at the status bar of his opponent. He also sees Honey Badger and praises him for his determination and refusal to give up. He tells Honey Badger to rest and let him take care of everything else. Honey Badger was taken care of by a red fox after he was tossed aside. He then charges up and gets ready to attack using the same method as his last fake war ex-snake. He launched a powerful attack that hurt the giant turtle so much that it flew to the surface and died. The Honey Badger also rushes to the surface to see his worst enemy die. When Yuziyu wins the battle with just one hit, he quickly calms down and his mood gets better. He also remembers the main reason he came to the spiritual mines in the first place. Yu tells all of his pets to start digging up all the spiritual stones they can find and bring them to Yuziyu. The 4 foxes in Yu's pack of Tempest wolves are the fastest and are given the job of dragging the stone bundles to Yuziyu. After digging up a big part of the cave in just a half day, they all got a lot of spiritual stones. When they were all together, Yuziyu said that the number of spiritual stones must be bigger than the number of silver centipedes. It was time for him to finally evolve and move up in rank. He takes a bunch of stones and absorbs them while he thinks about what he will become. Not long after, he started to shine and glow. Yuziyu has now evolved, and his appearance has changed a lot. His body is now a different color, and his eyes are more fierce, even though he looks like a tree demon king. He says that looks don't matter, and he checks his status window only after killing a few birds and getting a power trip. As he does this, he realizes how strong he has gotten. Also, all of his roots and branches have evolved to level 2. He also knows a lot of other things. Also, after his fight with the giant turtle, Yuziyu took on some of its skills and learned how to control sand, which makes his eyes pop out. After he saw this, he was eager to see how powerful this technique was. Just like an earthbender, he made the ground rise up and do what he told it to do, making a cool but scary attack. But he quickly finds a flaw in this skill. He says that this attack only has a range of a few hundred meters. He knows that as he levels up, he will get more powerful. He wonders if he will be able to move around soon by controlling the ground with his sand power. He wonders if he has enough points to upgrade his life force talent since he didn't have enough the last time. Xiao Ling, who is watching Yuziyu use power from the sidelines, says that his spiritual energy level must be over 300,000, since she says that even the silver centipede will no longer be able to beat her master. Falcon Crane and Wild Cow came back from their search, and Yuziyu told them that the problem was already taken care of. As an experiment, he feeds this flower to a wild cow, who immediately evolves to level 9 and changes into a more badass version of himself. As Yuziyu gets more and more excited about his amazing abilities and powers, the wild cow starts to speak in a slow, scary voice, calling his master god tree. I was so happy when I found out that monsters wake up after level 9. He wonders how strong Red Fox will get when he reaches level 9. He says that he will get stronger by taking care of them, even after they become conscious. He decides to first expand his spiritual cave and gather more stones. On the other hand, soon after this ordeal, Xiao Ling goes back to Ling's body at the academy. She has been working hard and is now too strong. Her body and mind have become one, and both Ling's and Ling's powers are now part of her. One day, one of her teachers calls her and tells her about a whole new kind of life. When the genes of wolves and humans mix, they make a creature that looks like a werewolf. The teacher tells her that he made this creature after a lot of failed experiments. He also says that all of the people he experimented on came willingly because they wanted to help humanity survive these hard times. He says that sacrifices are necessary for humans to stay at the top of the food chain. He says that his experiments are still not finished because he needs a creature with a lot of healing and regenerating power. Xiao Ling realizes that the monster her instructor wanted is a perfect match for Yugai. When she realizes this, she makes a funny face while her instructor keeps saying that humans can't and won't lose in this age of spiritual energy. Back in the forest, a group of normal humans and super beings are told to get some herbs from the mountains. They agree even though they don't know what might be in the forest, as soon as they walk in and look around. Soon, they run into a white tiger that has changed. When it shows up, everyone is frozen with fear. The men try to fight it, but they die quickly, one by one, until only Kai and Lee are left. Kai is a very mean girl, and Lee is told to run away and escape, so that at least one person can tell what happened. However, Kai doesn't get a chance to do this, because the white tiger kills everyone quickly, leaving Kai and Lee to fend for herself. The root easily hurts and captures the white tiger. As Kai-En Lee lies on the ground, she's almost out of her mind and wonders what saved her. You die, and then you take all the group members who are still alive, along with the white tiger, to his location. There, the white tiger, who was acting scary and cocky just a few minutes ago, is now acting timid and shy because he is surrounded by his pets. When you die, you reveal that he has learned a new skill, so he decides to try it on White Tiger. The tiger immediately changes his attitude and starts licking Jaya's trunk. He is amazed at how quickly it works and wonders what will happen if he gives the sap to the girl he saved. As he gets close to feeding her, she wakes up and thinks that Ju is going to touch her inappropriately with his tentacles. She starts to scream, but his plans are not what she thought they would be. After giving her the sap, he asks her to stay with him and teach his animals how to behave. Kai-En Lee doesn't want to stay with a tree demon at first, but as soon as the sap starts to work, she agrees right away. He then asks her what her awakened talent is, and she tells him that it's female intuition. He thinks this ability is funny and decides to see how far the sap's effects go. So he tells Kai-En Lee to give him praise, which he does to try his luck. He then tells her to take off all her clothes. When she hears this, she blushes and says she doesn't want this, which makes him happy. Yuziyu then feeds his sap to the other two humans he saved, letting them know that he wants them to teach the red fox and the wild cow what humans know. He tells her that he wants to depend on her, but she is very busy. So it's up to these simple humans to take care of Yuziyu and teach him how to use his branches to control his pets. He makes a place for his new slaves to live, which is fine because they agree to stay even though they were forced to. Now that they can move around freely, Yuziyu can finally become a god. But he says that because of the way the world is right now, anything can happen, so he needs to be ready for everything. So once he has put the people in their rooms, he starts to look at his status window again. After beating the giant turtle, he was able to collect 13,430, 2 evolution points. He then goes on to level up sand control, but finds out that since he is now a transcended rank, all of the improvements and strengthening will cost a lot more points. After crying about how expensive everything is now, he accepts the trade and levels up sand control to level 2, deciding to try it out. He uses the technique again and notices that the power to hurt has gotten a lot worse, but the range is still only 100 meters. So he gets better at the skill and can now easily use his branches to make hills and cause big earthquakes. Yuziyu says that even though this skill is awesome, he could end up putting stress on the main body, so he should first try to get this skill completely under control before he can take control of the whole area. On another continent, a huge tsunami hits a busy city and causes a lot of trouble. Also, there are many animals that have changed since the tsunami. 5 hours after this appearance, transcended beasts were also seen along the coast of a different country. The political assembly is upset when it comes out that these sea creatures have also hurt them. Aaron, an assistant to the Prime Minister, says that this beast, a gold pattern deal, has a power level of about 250,000 and is a rank 3. Still, after 3 nuclear attacks, they were able to get rid of it. No matter how hard they try, they can't be sure if the beast is still alive, and the oceans of this world are now more dangerous than ever. On the other hand, back at the home of our friendly tree demon, the humans Yuziyu captured are now working for him and slowly getting used to their new environment. Cayenne Li is in charge of teaching the beasts knowledge, while Tang and Feng, who are also super beings, are in charge of being a trainer and a chef, respectively. It's been 3 days since they got to this place, so they wouldn't be killed by the big Yuziyu. They decided to keep doing the jobs they were given, while they eat lunch. They also talk about how they never thought there would be a wise tree in the world. They also say that if the military knew Yuziyu was around, they would do everything they could to kill him. While this was going on, Xiao Ling came back from her training to see Yuziyu. She asked him why he kept these people around. He says that he cares a lot about what they know. She also tells him about the recent appearance of the rank, 3 ill. She also tells him that 3 nuclear weapons were used to attack the eel, but only 1 hit, and the rest were deflected. Yuziyu is confused and wants to know more, so Ling tells him that the beasts use sound pressure to control and change the missiles' paths, which makes them miss. Even though the eel was hit by a weapon, it still made it back to the deep sea to see how scary people can be and how far they are willing to go, so that they could keep their kind safe. He knows that, unlike the sick, he has nowhere to go. So he decides to find friends who are even stronger to help him in the future. He also wants to build an empire underground, so he sets out to catch and train a wild boar. He also helps an alligator become an ancient emperor alligator and brings it under control. Having a lot of power, this old emperor alligator wants to find out where he stands in relation to the red fox. He challenges the red fox to a fight, which leads to a fierce fight. Red Fox level 9 and an ancient emperor alligator revealed to be on the same level as Red Fox face each other and start attacking right away, while all the other pets and humans watch from the sidelines and guess what will happen. The alligator uses an air blade attack which sends out a sharp burst of wind to attack, but the Red Fox isn't scared and dodges them all while trying to get closer to his opponent. Also, he goes flying after getting hit in the body by Tom, who is protecting the other people. The ancient emperor alligator rushes in again, not wanting to miss this chance. The last Red Fox is also not going down without a fight and uses fire breathing to get away. After their violent fight, both fighters agree that the other is strong and smirk at each other as the fight ends. Tong realizes something important after seeing this battle, and he gets lost in his thoughts. The next day, he goes hunting with Red Fox and decides to talk to Yuju. When Tong comes up to him, he tells him why he's there. He says that he wants to use Yuziyu's nourishment to become stronger. He says that this world is about the survival of the fittest, and that he is a weakling who doesn't have any other skills or talents. He hopes that the tree can help him get stronger, but Yuziyu immediately says no, making an angry and scary face and saying that he won't trust someone who has betrayed their own kind. After apologizing for wasting time, he also tells Tong to get back to his work. He leaves right away, and when he's gone, Xiaoling wonders why her master turned down his request for sap. So he says that it is kind of him to let him live in these clean places. He says that just by living here, the humans have gathered a lot of good, pure spiritual energy, which has made them much stronger and raised their level by a lot. Exiao Ling says that this is good news because these humans will be useful to them in the days to come. Yuziyu also says that people are selfish and often lie to each other to get what they want. And to be sure that his slave won't betray him, he needs to watch him more. As their conversation comes to an end, he says that the forest is now in the smooth phase and that all they need to do is stay quiet and hidden so they don't draw any unwanted attention to themselves. Xiao Ling also says that the humans have caught the slipper centipede and are now using it as part of an experiment. She also says that she is thinking about absorbing the centipede's soul, which would let her move up to rank 1. Yuziyu tells her that this isn't a game and that there's a good chance that her soul will be the one that gets sucked up instead. Still, Ling is sure of herself and lets him know it, so he agrees to her plan. He thinks to himself how far Ling has come since she has lived with humans and is now able to think about problems and how to solve them on her own. When they went to see what was going on, they heard a noise. The fight between the ancient emperor alligator and the honey badger, who has a lot of pride and thinks he's the strongest even though he's not, is what's making all the noise. Yuziyu realizes that his pets are getting stronger and are now at rank 1's second peak. So, as the pets gather, he decides to call them all out. He tells them that he will let some of them go so they can train on their own. He chooses to leave with the red fox, the wild cow, and the ancient emperor alligator. He decides not to leave with the white tiger because he is too stupid. The red foxes will name the strongest beast from now on Nine Tails because it is the strongest beast. The wild cow, now called the demon cow, white tiger, and the ancient emperor alligator are in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th ranks, respectively. He tells them that they will obey him as the great 9 demon beasts, and that they are free to roam anywhere except in human cities. On the other hand, Ling's body moves toward the sliver centipede. Even though its head was separated from its body, the beast was still alive. She tells the monster that instead of suffering for the rest of his life, he should become Ling's new source of power. With that, the soul fusion begins. The strongest Yuziyu Petes have left the forest. The red fox has gone to a nearby mountain, and the ancient emperor alligator has moved into a river. White tiger, on the other hand, is still an idiot who makes Cayenne Li's job as a tutor a lot of pain. Also, the extraction of the spirit stone cave is still going on, and it is going in the right direction. Yuziyu is still not happy with his current level, so he is practicing his skills. He notices that his Willow Windblade technique is not good enough, so he spends 2,000 evolution points to level it up. But even though the technique is stronger, it still uses a lot of energy. During a short break, he opens his status window and sees that all of his skills except for the main trunk have reached level 2. He decides that this is one of his top priorities. He decides to upgrade it. But when he sees that it will cost him 100,000 points, he stops. Since he can't afford it, he instead improves his fog skill. When he does this, he makes a big fog dragon that scares Cayenne Li and Fang. On level 3, the fog can also change into anything the controller wants. Yuziyu is impressed with his new strength and says he will scare Ling with his new skill. This makes him realize he hasn't seen Ling in a long time, which makes him worry about her. All of a sudden, a bright beam of light comes out of him to look into what happened. He quickly checks and sees that Ling's spirit has started to break through. He thinks that her fusion must have worked, so he feeds her life essence to speed up the process. At the same time, Ling's teachers at the Institute give her mana stones to help her grow. Thanks to the combination of these two things, Ling is successful. When she meets her master, she admits that she used the centipede as a weapon. Yuziyu tries to scare Ling with the fog dragon, but she isn't scared and easily handles it, showing that she has grown stronger both physically and mentally. She also has an advantage over these tricks because of her mental element. She also tells him that he should put a spirit stone at the core of the fog dragon. This will make the beast much stronger. When they try it, it works like a charm. Ling also says that she has something to show Yuziyu. She says that somewhere in this world, an army is fighting a battle. It can't win. Even the planes, tanks, and missile launchers that have been set up don't seem to be doing anything. As the soldiers hole out and wait for Freedom Federalist reinforcements, they eventually realize that they never came, and that the enemy causing all this chaos and mayhem is a giant coral crab that has moved up the ranks to the point where it can't do anything. On the other hand, Ling tells Yuziyu to send one of his pet falcons to a certain place, while the displaced people watch the soldiers fight and die helplessly. She says she wants to give her something by hand, so he agrees to meet her there at the time and place she gives him. After they have talked for a while, she gives the falcon a cylindrical object, as she was told. The falcon brings this item to his master, who is also confused when he sees it. He messes around until he finds a switch, which he presses. This opens the cylinder and shows an ant that has changed and is about to die. The spiritling shows up out of the blue and tells Yuziyu that this ant is the result of 1,000,000 failed experiments. She adds that this is very valuable, and the only reason she has it is because the status bar shows that it doesn't have much longer to live. Through these experiments, he finds that the ant has a lot of skills that are way too strong. Yuziyu tells Ling not to worry because he can make sure this mutated ant won't die today with the help of his powers and skill. He calls this a blessing in disguise. He then gives the ant some watered-down life essence which heals it right away. The ant also manages to change into a mutant gold, and when Yugai gets his energy back and sees this monster move, he is surprised by how small and strong it is. It is no bigger than the palm of his hand. All of a sudden, the beast, Neil, is thanking his rescuers and wants to stay with them until he dies. Yuziyu is even more impressed that this point at level 5 has learned telepathy while White Tiger at level 9 still can't. Yuziyu calls it Sparky and gives it the 5th spot in his army as a general. He then tells it to work on his power in the cave. On the other hand, the ancient Emperor Alligator is out hunting when all of a sudden he changes. This makes the people angry, so they send out a small group of Air Force soldiers to bomb this beast. Yuziyu, on the other hand, doesn't know about any of this and keeps playing with the fog dragon to scare his human slaves. In just a few moments, the location of the ancient Emperor Alligator was reached by a large number of heavily armed fighter jets and helicopters. When they saw their target, the commander of the troops seemed very worried. She says that this monster is even bigger than the sliver centipede they met before, and that it would be impossible for the Air Force to catch or even kill this monster. She orders the use of long-range missiles and a battalion of super beings because of this. All of their cameras stopped working at once, and they could no longer see what was going on. On the other hand, Ling tells Yuziyu about this new information, saying that dozens of troops and planes have been sent out. This news shakes him to his core. He asks how his location was found, saying that the ancient Emperor Alligator isn't that careless. She tells him that it was because the monster changed over time. This time, though, the threat level is set to maximum because he knows that the spiritual institution is in complete chaos after he found his pet. He doesn't understand why an ancestral mutation is making such a big deal when the stronger sliver centipede didn't. Ling leaves saying that Long is on standby and will soon be used as well. When Yuziyu realized that Ling and the ancient Emperor Alligator might have to fight, he told his flock of falcons to help him get his pet alligator back. He even gave them permission to destroy any aircraft that got in the way of his orders. So, the flock heads straight back to the ancient Emperor Alligator, who is now being attacked with bullets and bombs. The troops plan to learn about the beast in a certain place where the Super Being Battalion will land and wait for it. The leader of the troops says that if they don't deal with this ancient monster right away, they will face an even bigger threat in the future. But the ancient Emperor Alligator doesn't take all the attacks lying down. Instead, he throws a few boulders at the incoming missile to make a smokescreen. While his enemy can't see it, he throws rocks right at the planes, which causes a few of them to crash. When the soldiers see how smart this monster is, they wonder if it has learned anything. In the meantime, the beast tries to get away from the battlefield, but his enemies keep dropping bombs on him. At some point, the ancient Emperor Alligator gets tired, slows down, and becomes an easier target. As he fights against this terrible force, all he can think about is his beloved master, whom he wants to come save him when he's in a lot of trouble. Even though the ancient Emperor Alligator has been killed, he still won't go quietly. Slowly, the troops start to run out of bullets, and in the end, they only have one bomb left. Just as the troop commander is about to give the order to end the battle, her assistant starts to make a scene by screaming and telling everyone that the radar shows multiple mutated monsters coming toward them. We're done with all of them being pretty powerful. But even so, the Air Force can't take pictures of these monsters because they move too quickly. These monsters are, of course, Yuziyu Falcons who have just arrived in time to save a friend. The troop commander tells the soldiers and pilots about this new information, but the plane still can't keep up with these huge falcons. So the Air Force staff quickly starts dropping like flies, one by one, losing contact with all air units and declaring the target to be missing. The commander thinks that they lost this battle. Like the woman who is standing on the sidelines and watching this battle, she breathes a sigh of relief because her friend will live another day. Back at the headquarters, someone finds a single picture that shows the falcons. From this, they figure out what kind of bird the falcon is and learn that it is a top-level hunter. Also, they were all level 9, so the current air units wouldn't be able to do anything against them. This information leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth, as everyone thinks about the same question: how can we get rid of them? On the other hand, the ancient Emperor Alligator and the falcons were able to get away from the humans and quickly return to Yuziyu's side. Along with them, all of the other pets, except for the red fox, gather there. He tells everyone what happened and explains what happened. Suddenly he sees movement and finds a small scouting plane there, so he destroys it right away. After explaining, he starts to look at the cuts and wounds on ancient Emperor alligators. When he sees them, he says that humans are using special bullets that can go through armor, so pets shouldn't fight with their bodies. When Yuziyu sees the damage, he starts to wonder how dangerous human technology really is. He starts to worry about weapons that could make him temporarily paralyzed or do other bad things. Alligator suddenly pulls out a snake egg as a gift for his master, showing that the egg's inhibitor will bring out the ice element's talent. In the meantime, the leader of the troop is looking at the footage from their scouting plane and finds everything to be very strange. She says that they need to look into this forest because it could be home to mutated animals. She tells her men to mark this area as a danger zone and start watching it so that the ancient Emperor Alligator doesn't get away and is killed on this mountain. Sparky watches from a faraway tree branch, taking note of where the human is with the old Emperor Alligator. His master told him to go into the middle of the Misty Mountains and claim the land as his own. He was also told to make a lake. The ancient Emperor Alligator is also sure that when his master dies, he will give him some of his life essence to turn a normal lake into a spiritual lake. As the Emperor Alligator starts to leave to do what his master told him to do, the other pets worry about their safety, remembering the last time they had to deal with humans. They can't help but forget how cruel humans are and how, out of selfishness, they don't care about anything but themselves. Emperor Alligator, on the other hand, says he's fine and tells them not to worry. He promises to play with his friends when he gets back after the beast has left. The king asks Yuziyu what they're going to do now that the humans know about the giant crocodile in the mountains. So he tells her that it's best to leave the humans alone for now, even though it's only a matter of time before they attack. Yuziyu then say that they will use his fog mixed with his hallucinogen powers to hide their presence and that no human can hurt them as long as they live on top of this mountain. Things aren't as easy as hoped though. Kane tells her master all of a sudden that the humans have already prepared and put together a small team at the base of the mountain ready to go inside. This made the animals on the mountain nervous, but Yuziyu says that he is already aware of the situation and has already made plans for it. In the meantime, the special organization troops at the foot of the mountain get lost and confused in the thick fog, which makes it hard for them to use their senses. Suddenly, one of the soldiers starts to move away from the rest and head in a completely different direction. The other soldiers tried to stop him, but they couldn't. Seeing that they were about to be in danger, they quickly called their camp. Only them. A white figure smashes up the person who is answering the phone. This lets the nearby troops know that the enemy is attacking and they rush to help right away. But when they see the dragon-like fog beasts that the reports warned them about, they quickly lose their courage and become scared. With no other choice, the troops do what they know best and start firing a lot of bullets at their enemy. Even though they tried, their plan doesn't hurt anyone and doesn't do anything at all. Not long after, the troops figure out that the fog beast's body is mostly water. Because of this, they can't kill it with normal weapons. One of the soldiers is smart enough to realize what's going on and pulls out a flamethrower to get rid of the fog. He is about to let it run wild, but all of a sudden another person sends it flying into space. The human turns out to be Ling Gang, who has joined the fight to show Yuziyu that he is loyal. Sparky comes soon after, also wanting to join the army of a powerful beast. Together, they start to scare their opponents. The Spiritling asks the Tree Master what they're going to do now that the whole world can see the mountain. The Tree Master says that they can't stay hidden forever. Anyway, Yuziyu says that all they need to do now is show everyone how scary the mountains really are. He tells her that if they hadn't stopped the humans from coming into the mountains, they would have kept coming and getting stronger until they were a big threat. The Tree Master lets the soldier go so that he can tell the rest of the world about how scary the mountain is. As all the troops are taken care of, Yuziyu says it's time to go to war. Soon, rumors start to spread about a mountain that is always cloudy and makes people walk in circles. People start to say that it is dangerous to go into the Misty Mountain. People were warned about the giant crocodiles and living fog beasts. Meanwhile, in the depths of the mountain, the Emperor Alligator made an even bigger spiritual lake after Yuziyu gave him 10 drops of life essence. This made the place a paradise for everyone, and the sacred tree kept getting stronger, letting his branches reach level 3 and filling up with a spiritual power of 490,000, which put it above second level strength. But he wants to move quickly to the next step because a terrible war is coming. Yuziyu talks to the giant crocodile through telepathy and asks what it found in the Great River. The Emperor Crocodile tells him that it didn't stay in the dangerous and unpredictable waters for long, but he does know that the water has the power to stop fluctuations in spiritual power, which he reports to his master. The beast also says that there are definitely transcendent beings of the second order and above in these waters. In the cities, the young man was furious when he saw the condition of the truth that had come back alive. He told the army, the superhuman troops, and the 10 heroes of the Federation to get together. He says that he will lead the troops into battle himself. Since the giant crocodile is one of the 3 most dangerous mutated animals ever found, Gal decides that the best thing to do is to burn the mountain down, in the middle of the hills. The ancient Emperor Alligator is shocked when Yuziyu tells him that he plans to bring the Great River, which the alligator thinks will be overrun by second and third order transcendent beings, under his control, and that he will use the river's advantage of flowing directly into the sea to fight against humans in the future. The sacred tree shouts that it's time for them to stand up and show how strong they are, still shaken by his master's big announcement. The giant crocodile suggests that the honey badger's second brother, the 5th brother, be sent to take control of the mountain range near the river when he reaches the first level of transcendent. He is afraid that if he moves, humans will be able to sense his spiritual strength. He thinks that the range would be a better place to train and protect the others. Yuziyu is surprised to see that the Emperor Alligator is so thoughtful. So he puts him in charge of the hunt and gives him some essence of life as a precaution. The crocodile then heads out to lead the expedition. The sacred tree talks to the Ling gang about the building of the cities under Kenny. He wants to know how things are going and if anything bad has happened. Ling gang tells Yuziyu that the city is built on 3 floors and that once the city is opened, they will collect the entire underground tunnel. She also tells Yuziyu that everything is going well and that the cave is growing faster than ever. Ling gang also tells Yuziyu that, as per his orders, a water source was brought in and a tall bridge was built that leads to all rooms. The number of rooms and training slots is increasing, as the holy tree is impressed by how hard she works. The person asks him if her old teammates can help her out, but he says no. As Yuziyu says, they haven't promised to be loyal to him yet, so he can't be sure that information won't get to the human. The Spirit King calls the Tree Lord and sounds very worried. He tells him to hurry to where she is because the snake egg is about to hatch. When he heard this, he did it right away. When it got to the egg, everyone was surprised by how bright it was. Moments later, it hatched, revealing a beautiful white figure. The broken eggshell is around a slithering reptile, which turns out to be the level 1 mutant white snake. This beast can control cold air and freeze anything in its reign. The lighted Yugai Zhu and Ling are happy to see the majestic beast. On the other hand, things are getting worse and worse on the other side of the mountain. The honey badger boar and other members of the expeditionary unit, which was put together at the suggestion of the ancient Emperor Alligator, will soon reach the mountain range and get ready to follow their master's order. Yuziyu, who is watching from a distance, tells them to kill any forces that get in the way and keep any strong ones alive. After this is made clear, the unit charges forward and easily kills the first wave of enemies that appear in front of them. But things aren't as clear-cut as they seem. Some days after the expedition started, chameleons and other first-order transcendent creatures were seen watching the expeditionary unit. Yuziyu and his pack of wolves have killed a lot of animals and gotten a lot of evolution points from it. Not far away, King meets a majestic gorilla. But the beast doesn't seem too happy to see her and throws a huge rock at her. She gets mad and decides to fight back by cutting up the big rock and bringing out her centipede. A short time later, Yuziyu is happy that the bodies of the animals he has killed have finally been removed from his area. Then, Ling walks up and throws the defeated gorilla's big body on the freshly cleaned glass, breaking it and making Yuziyu feel sad. She asks the sacred tree if he is sure he wants to train the gorilla, because it is different from the other animals and might not be able to be controlled. However, Yuziyu becomes distant and doesn't respond to her. making her wonder if he is even listening to her. After a few moments, he finally comes out of his depression, which was caused by the shock of his weak grip getting broken. This shows Ling that he was listening to her after all. After that, the sacred tree tells her partner that gorillas are a species that are very similar to humans, and that if they are guided well, they will evolve at an unimaginable rate. If the ape can learn human knowledge, it will be a whole new species. Yuziyu also tells Ling that making the gorillas rise up like humans and adding more chaos to a world that is already chaotic might not be a bad thing for what they are trying to do. When the giant gorilla, which is even bigger than the white tiger, sees Yuziyu, it suddenly wakes up and rushes to attack. Even though the gorilla attacked him in a sneaky way, Jay, you weren't scared at all. He used his neurotoxic paralysis to stop the gorilla and make it harmless. He then gives this wild animal a choice: either surrender and join his army or die. Much to his surprise, the gorilla gives up right away without any hesitation. Yuziyu was disappointed because he had come up with a lot of threats, including Laura's, to fight the creature. But then the gorilla said he had no name. Yuziyu thinks of the name King Kong and gives it to his new pet when he hears this. Even though the fake tree is smaller than the real one, the scared tree says it can grow to be even bigger in the future. Then, the sacred tree gives it a gift of his life essence, which raises the gorilla to level 8. Yuziyu sees that the gorilla is good at a lot of things, but he doesn't think he's good enough to be one of the 9 beasts. So he tells the ape to call its other friends. King Kong does what he's told and lets out a wild roar. The scream it lets out is so loud that